revenge. Democrats very nervous that if Trump wins, that he might be coming for them. In fact, the Washington Post published this article. It's being retweeted all over X. All the lefties are saying, oh gosh, what if he wins? This is what he's going to do. We told you. Everybody break the glass. Let's wreck America in order to stop Trump from being elected by the American people. So they publish this. They say, look, Trump and his allies are plotting revenge, Justice Department control in a second term. And that's exactly right. I hope so. I mean, that's why we're voting for the guy. Hopefully there's a plan. I mean, there's like a bullet point, 10 points, 5 points. I don't care what it is, but it's got to be strong, baby, because the DOJ is a big problem. The FBI, the corrupted, weaponized government that has now been enacted to just go prosecute partisan opponents in this country needs to be fixed. Now, revenge implies that there was a wrong also. Isn't that a curious word? Revenge. Now, revenge typically means that somebody was wronged, right? You get revenge on somebody if they've wronged you. Sometimes it's unjustified, but oftentimes you think of revenge as being justified, which is right. The pendulum swings both ways. And as soon as the Republicans gain control, I expect them to do something about this, lest the same infection of our politique continue on. So here's what they say. Now, advisors have also discussed deploying the military to quell potential unrest, and they're going to do this thing again, this insurrection again. Now, I got a lot of concerns about this, to be frank with you, because they're already telling us that Trump is an insurrectionist, and part of my concern has been that they're going to say he's going to insurrect us again. So this next election really can't even allow him to be a part of it because he's just going to take it over again. Or maybe the Russians will help him do it again. So they've got to protect us all to stop Trump from getting close to power, because if he gets close to power, then he's going to seize power, just like he almost tried to do previously, even though he never did. So they say here, they have begun mapping out, Trump and his allies, so Trump's involved, mapping out specific plans for using the federal government to punish his critics and opponents should he win a second term, which is fair because they are prosecuting him and punishing him for being their opponent. So when you break this glass, when you start to cross the Rubicon here and start prosecuting your political opponents, this is the only logical outcome and conclusion. Now, he's naming individuals he wants to investigate, who in my opinion are breaking the law by prosecuting him unethically and illegally. And his associates are drafting plans to potentially invoke the Insurrection Act on his first day in office to allow him to deploy the military against civil demonstrations, which is always a good contingency to plan for, because the last time that he left this in control of the other agencies, they all failed. The last time he sent a letter to Mayor Muriel Bowser and he said, hey, we're here to help. She said, we don't want your help. And then they let the Capitol building fall because they were incompetent. So in private, Trump told his advisors and friends that he wants the DOJ to investigate once-time officials and allies who become critical of his time in office, including former Chief of Staff John Kelly, Bill Barr, as well as Ty Cobb, ex-lawyers, and Mark Milley. Yeah, if these people were involved in criminality, I mean, they're investigating all of Trump's lawyers right now, the DOJ. They're investigating all of people who was even closely connected to him. We had Chief of Staff for Donald Trump, Mark Meadows. We had the lawyers for Trump, Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis, Rudy Giuliani, all of these people. So when Biden got control of the DOJ, he went after Trump's people. So when Trump gets control of the DOJ, he should go after anybody else who was antithetical to his efforts and may have committed crimes like treason. Trump has also talked to prosecuting officials at the FBI and the DOJ, which is just music to my ears. Now, in public, Trump has vowed to appoint a special prosecutor to go after Biden and his family. We'll see if that happens. The former president has frequently made corruption accusations against them that are not supported by available evidence. Now, since we've crossed this line, historically, I'm not in favor of political prosecutions, but they started it. So it's all fair now, right? If they're going to kind of, kick you below the belt, only fair that you have the same tools to kick them back. Now, I wish that this was not the case in America, genuinely. I really wish the Democrats would not have done this and started prosecuting political opponents. But if this is where it's going to go, then we have to clean house. We've got to seize power and then reshape it and bring it back into the norm. Bring it back to the mean. To facilitate Trump's ability to direct DOJ actions, his associates have been drafting plans to dispense with 50 years of policy. Oh, that's curious, because the DOJ, they dispense with 234 years of policy by not prosecuting political opponents, in particular presidential candidates, during elections. So don't give me that crap about Trump's going to shatter the norms and the precedent. Never happened in 234 years. Now they're the ones shattering it. So now we got to just play. Do you want to play? Let's play. Critics have called such ideas dangerous and unconstitutional. Look at what they're doing. They said it would resemble a banana republic if people came into office and started going after their opponents willy-nilly, says this idiot, somebody named Prakash, a constitutional law moron over in Virginia. He studies executive power. It's hardly something we should aspire to prosecute our political opponents. It's happening, brother, right now. 4 of them, plus some. In the civil case, much of the planning for a second term has been unofficially outsourced to a partnership of the right-wing think tank group called Project 2025. Sounds awesome. That would deploy the military. Like, I'm not in favor of deploying the military under the Insurrection Act, but if they're going to insurrect the country from us, like if Trump wins and they say, we can't let him into power, we got to have a backup plan to figure out what this looks like. So the law was last updated, authorizes the deployment of the military for domestic law enforcement. In other words, I have concerns that even if he wins, that they will let him in. Right? The reverse of what they said he was going to do. Trump's never going to leave office, they said. And then he packed up, took his boxes down to Mar-a-Lago, and they indicted him for leaving. So then I think that you could reverse that, right? Now they're in control. Trump wins the election. They say, nope, it's rigged. Nope, it's Russians. Nope, it's China. Nope, it's Trump people, right? Whatever. It's all rigged, rigged, rigged. Trump will never get in there again. And then we've got a situation, don't we? So the proposal was identified in internal discussions as an immediate priority, and communication showed. In the final year of his presidency, some of Trump's supporters urged him to invoke the Insurrection Act to put down the unrest during the Summer of Love and George Floyd stuff. Now, the campaign spokesman for Trump didn't answer any questions about this. They say Trump is focused on crushing his opponents, including Biden. And Trump has always stood for law and order and protecting the Constitution. The discussions underway reflect Trump's determination to harness the power of the presidency to exact revenge. What are you talking about? We call it pursuing justice. All right. All of these individuals who are leading these prosecutions are not doing so out of the goodness of their hearts. They're doing it to weaponize the government. So that is inappropriate, and there should be investigations and consequences. The former president has frequently threatened to take punitive steps against his perceived enemies, and he's claimed without evidence that the criminal charges he's facing now were made up to damage him politically. This is third world country stuff, says Trump. It's just amazing. They're going to call Trump this, tyrant insurrectionist who's trying to wreck American democracy, even though he's literally the defendant in 4 criminal cases brought upon by them. So they say he's going to go after the people who turned on him. Well, I hope so. It should be very interesting, and we'll be supporting him. Now, it sounds like a lot of Americans are doing the same. Here was the New York Times poll that's making waves. You can see here are the crosstabs. It says here, do you think the United States is on the right track or is headed in the wrong direction? Boom! Registered voters. 67% say wrong direction. Uh-oh. Well, it's under control of the Democrats. The Republicans have 1 house of Congress. The Democrats have the Senate and the White House. And so it is their game. They've got the ball. Now, thinking ahead to the next year election, are you almost certain that you will vote? Very likely to vote, somewhat likely to vote, or whatever. Almost certain, 53% takes the majority. Thinking about the upcoming election, who would you vote for if the candidates were Joe Biden, the Democrat, Trump, and the Republican? Ooh, they're not happy about that one. 48-44, Donald Trump takes the lead. Looking good. Registered voters, that's for Democrats. And so you can see the rest of the crosstabs causing them to be a little bit nervous. Here is ABC breaking this down. RNC saying 1 year from election day, 76% say that the poll reports that the country is heading in the wrong direction.
Unspeakably, George, voters are just plain frustrated across the board. 76% of adults in this poll say the country is headed in the wrong direction. Only 23%, less than a quarter of the country, say that we're headed on the right track. And the issues that are animating voters' frustration, it's almost unspeakably vast and broad. Economy, 74% of Americans say it's very important to them personally. 69% say the same about inflation. Those are issues in our poll that tend to favor Republicans. Voters say they trust Republicans more than Democrats on those issues. George, voters are just plain frustrated.
Voters are frustrated, and you saw there that their report was explaining that it was about economics, one of the key issues that most Americans are concerned about. And NBC is reporting this one. They say, jumbled mess. The Bidenomics brand leaves nearly everyone, even including Biden, baffled, which is not a surprise because Biden's baffled, 98% of the time, 99% maybe. But we were making fun of this from day one. I couldn't believe they came out and they tried to label the current environment with Joe's name on it. Like, we're proud of Bidenomics. They're like, are you serious? Perfect. That's the best branding for the Republicans that you've ever heard. Now, at the beginning, the president was reluctant to embrace the term, but he continues to make his economic policies central to his reelection pitch. I don't think so, man. They were thrilled about this. Bidenomics, Bidenomics, Bidenomics. No one seems to like Bidenomics, and his name is literally in it. Like, they should be calling it Trumpnomics, because Trump. Trump did this. Trump's responsible for your inflation. It's not us. But he put his own name on it. I'm not saying that Trump did it, but that would be like their politics, right? To be smart, but they're dumb. The eponymous shorthand for Joe Biden's policies, no one even likes it. Not voters, not Democratic officials, not even times the president himself. The term mystifies Americans, and it confounds even its namesake. Biden said in his speech, Biden even said in Philadelphia, I don't know what the hell that is. Bidenomics. Well, neither do we, man. I mean, that's the problem. Nobody knows what you're doing. In September focus group with Pennsylvania voters, one participant told the research firm Engagius that the concept was, quote, a jumbled mess. Said it's really hard to explain. What is it? Inflation and high mortgage rates? But Biden's undeterred, at least for now. He has made the state of the nation's economy a central rationale for his re-election pitch. He touts Bidenomics at events across the country. Okay. He talks about rapid job growth, right? And billions of dollars in spending for roads, bridges, and renewable energy projects that nobody sees or cares about. Appearing in Minnesota last week, he described Bidenomics as the American dream. He said that twice in the same speech. But the problem is people aren't buying it. Just as the phrase hasn't caught on despite a low jobless rate, the underlying policies that Bidenomics purports to describe have left voters cold, polling shows. A Gallup says 48% of adults rated the economic conditions as poor, saying that a university survey found that 20% of consumers expressed that their personal finances had deteriorated between Biden's inauguration and September of this year. And more meaningful, Americans are saying food prices have risen a lot, 20% since Biden took office. Same with gas, $3.44 is still about a third higher than the pre-pandemic level. Inflation's been cooling, but it's still hot. And we've had significant inflation reductions, and so they're just trying to connect it to his name. But a lot of people are not liking it. So the election's still a full year away. The campaign's ads isn't focused on moving poll numbers, but just testing various messages and deciding what to do. Inside Democratic circles, there's a nagging concern that this might be a problem. We know that Carville said, it's the economy, stupid. But they're just hammering Trump every day. They said Biden did all these historic things and people don't know it yet. And they've got to take a year to drive this home. So they're just going to have to educate us more, which is always hilarious. They just need to, make it more clear to us what an amazing job that they're doing. But Biden is not looking so good, and rightfully so. It's a bad brand. It's a bad president. He doesn't know what the heck he's doing. We'll continue to cover it, my friends. Thank you for subscribing, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one.